It's time, ladies and gents, about to spit about some film reels. Copping the field to seal the deal of what the films reveal. Batman, Superman, even Spider-Man compare to fare against each other, tearing apart the plots that they prepare. But these are just a few examples for the task at hand. On demand with cinematic contraband to shock the fans. To preach the theme, title, film, eat film. Tis the keen regime for cinema guillotines to rock my rhyme kiln.
Greetings to you, the lucky finder of this movie debate podcast. In your wildest dreams, you could not imagine that such things would happen to you. Each combatant enters with a specific movie topic, each choosing one film per topic. The debate commences once the judge decrees that the topic is open. The winner of Film Eat Film will be determined by total number of points won. There are 3 points total. 2 films will enter, 1 film will leave. This is Film Eat Film. Woo! And if anyone was wondering, you cannot find that rap on iTunes. That's only here, so just keep watching over and over and over again. So this week we have, as our combatants, Scott Icebox Nemi. Clap.
Oh.
Just a fourth clap. And now we have our newcomer, James Franco Rodriguez.
Thank you for having me.
I went with a different one.
Okay, all right.
I thought that was better. And as our fact checker today, we have Trace Couch Passion.
Hey.
No clap for him. No
Couch,
clap.
actually. Couch, actually.
And your host is Damon Big DZ Gumbert, pimping the airwaves as usual.
Woohoo!
Yes, that's more than you got. So
It is.
all right. So our topics today are going to be James Cameron action sci-fi, John Wayne westerns, and best musical.
Ooh.
We are starting today with Scott Icebox Nemi and the James Cameron action sci-fi topic. You have 3.5 minutes starting now.
Look, this is Terminator 2 Judgment Day. The topic is action sci-fi. To me, this is the definition of action sci-fi in James Cameron's world. To me, it totally outdoes the first Terminator. And if you think about it, well, this is kind of a rebuttal, but not really. Franco's topic is aliens, which, if you think about it, Alien versus Aliens is a hotly debated argument, or it's debated often. But anyways, Terminator is James Cameron's own entity and property. It's original. To me, that is huge in this topic of James Cameron action sci-fi, which I think Terminator 2, like I said already, is so much better than the first one, and I think it's his definition of action sci-fi. Going down to the frame rate, he needed to get this frame rate perfect to make this film look the way it did. He went a little bit too fast, so he decided to take it down a notch and created some of the best action set pieces, practical effects that we see with the semi blowing up, the helicopter, all of that good stuff. The fire, the explosions, the gunfire, all that stuff. Now I think I know what someone would say about this film. One of the first things that would be argued against T2 would be that of Edward Furlong, John Connor, which I, unlike most people, feel like this guy is serviceable as a punk kid. He's not a completely shit actor. He put in a decent performance, I think, in American History X, and he puts in a performance in this film with the kid from Salute Your Shorts, his buddy, his punk redheaded buddy. But anyways, he puts on a good squeaky voice. He's running around with a Public Enemy shirt. He's riding a dirt bike. Everything that kids in the 90s would think a hard-ass kid would be doing. This is number 42 on IMDb's top 250, which is actually lower on the list, which is better than Aliens. It had 4 deserved Oscars: sound effects, visual effects, makeup. It was nominated also for cinematography, which I cannot disagree. To me, a good action movie has a lot to do with the villain, and the T-1000 is an amazing villain. I think, along with the classic movie from the first one, this film really encapsulates an action sci-fi. It's got a really inventive storyline that you rehash some of the first stuff. Now you got to go back because we have to change the future and all that stuff. Arnie's back. To me, it's really great how you get Arnold Schwarzenegger. Actually, a lot of people don't realize he was bad in the first one. He comes back, now he's good, which is it's really cool. To me, it scored better on IMDb. Not on Metacritic or Rotten Tomatoes, but I believe it played off of the success of Alien. That's Aliens. And Terminator is a pop culture icon that is directly related to T2. You only have goofball, kind of geeky, nerdy Alien fans that really truly know the ins and outs of Alien. When you think of T2, you have the whole pop culture status of the Terminator all in one.
Now it is Franco's turn. You have 3.5 minutes starting now.
Well, you make some good points about Terminator 2, and I honestly can't disagree with them a whole lot, except that Aliens is just, in my opinion, a better, enjoyable film to watch. Now, why? Because it does a few things right off the bat. First of all, it is a sequel. You're right, it's not a James Cameron original idea, except that he takes the first film concept, which a lot of people thought the first draft of that first film script was very bland until you get to the alien chestburster scene. He takes that just concept of the alien and builds it way more. He gives Ripley front and center star power. Sigourney Weaver stars in that film, and she knocks it out of the park on so many levels because it's not just an action film, it's a sci-fi film, but more importantly, it's a story that takes place in a sci-fi universe. The sci-fi is a vessel to tell the story. Now, T2 has a great story, but you can argue the sci-fi is the story for that film. The robots, the time travel, everything, changing history. The characters are put in a position that repeats history in a way. I mean, I think a lot with Aliens, a lot of themes when I think about this film. They're dealing with a force in a way you can say nature, that mankind's not meant to conquer nature in certain aspects. And they're dealing with a creature and an animal. And they're also dealing with concepts of arrogance and humanity as far as we are the kings of the universe. We know what we're doing. And by that humans think they can conquer any situation. They're not worried about a bug hunt or, some type of creature. When Ripley tells the Marines going to this planet, LV-426, that, listen, this one of these creatures tore apart my crew. If there's more than one, we might be really screwed. They laugh it off. They really do. But that's not like my favorite part, though. My favorite theme is redemption and conquering fear. Because if you watch, and now it is in the theatrical cut, but if you watch the extended director's cut of this film, there's a lot of themes with Ripley's daughter. Now, in the first film, Ripley escapes the alien, sorry for spoilers, and she's in space for a long time. And her daughter dies and passes away while she's in space. And she gets that news, and when she goes to confront her demons, so to speak, with these aliens, she finds a little girl who's an orphan, and same age as what her daughter would be. And she finds herself trying to save this girl the way she couldn't save her own daughter. But as far as technical filmmaking aspects, this film was a bitch to shoot. A lot of problems all the way around. If you watch any of the behind the scenes, it was just a miracle this thing happened. And it happened, and it's great. And every other sci-fi film tries to copy this film. Every other monster sci-fi film tries to copy this film. The lines are memorable. The characters are memorable. And what's nice is even though a lot of these people are expendable, there's a handful of people that just stay with you a long time. Terminator 2, I mean, it's great, but there's only so many characters, and a lot of them just die right from the get-go. So I don't know how much time I got left,
23
but
seconds.
I could go on and on about this film, but I really just want to revenate the themes for this film. But also, you got themes with the robots. Lance Hendricks plays Bishop, the wonderful android. You got a lot of themes of is he real? Is he a child? I mean, his personality and attitude, the way they look at him towards this.
All right, that was strong. So now we go to our rebuttals, which is 2 minutes. Scott, whenever you're ready.
Yeah.
Okay.
Aliens, number 65 on IMDb's top 250, which I think is pretty unique, but it's a crap on Aliens. It only won 2 Oscars. Going to the actual film itself, I feel like adding a child character, one that's so small and helpless like Newt is, only takes away from the scenes that she's in. One of the most tense scenes that is supposed to be on screen is when Ripley and Newt are inside of that I think it's whatever it is like a glass box that they get locked into. That is supposed to be a really highly tense scene. But the whole time, I feel like nothing's going to happen because Newt's in the room. What's going to happen? Are they going to rip out through the little kid? And I saw that the earlier little kids, you know, the one that pops out of the kid that they find alive. But honestly, nobody cared because he's all glossed over. He looks fake anyways. I think Bill Paxton is really annoying. He drives me absolutely insane. Look, I get you. You want the broad spectrum of all sorts of different types of personalities within the Marines, but that guy just sucks. And the fact he makes it, it is just, ugh, it annoys me. To me, again, an entity that was arguably better in the hands of Ridley Scott than James Cameron, I think that's a big downer on it. Yes, I know Little Chute, Wisconsin is mentioned, but nobody cares. Saw this stuff in Terminator 1, and it was done a hell of a lot better. And obviously T2 is better in the sequel. We've seen the first-person type of things, but also the cliches, you know, not believing and rehashing a story, the disbelief that they have, but also the fact that she ends up going back there, which I will say is some good themes. Enjoyable overall, but first act is super boring. Same as Alien, but Alien, we didn't see the alien in the first one.
I think that was strong. I'm just whatever. Franco, your turn.
Ready?
All right.
To mention a film's rank on IMDb from a user perspective, this is just people. I mean, good for them if they like Terminator 2 better, but honestly, this is, you know, they're not experts in sci-fi film, and not saying that I am, but that's what we're debating right now, so I am.
I took some liberties.
Aliens was nominated for a bunch of Oscars. More impressively, it's a sci-fi action horror film, so to speak. Sigourney Weaver was nominated for a Best Actress in a Leading Role for that film. Now, she didn't win, but that would be insane in 1986. As far as Bill Paxton, yeah, he's annoying, but that's what you remember him. You remember him all these times. Who do you remember that's annoying in Terminator 2? Maybe anybody, the dumb cop who didn't know that the gun was going to get pulled on him and get shot?
Wolfie.
Wolfie. You know, Aliens 2's, it's super great. I mean, there's not a lot I can rip apart for a Terminator 2. It is good, but the strengths with Aliens is just better. And I mean, let me just try to go on here. Yeah, it's a rehash of the first film, but it's done way in a different light. You know, it is that, okay, why is she going back? I mean, they never have to go back to the islands of Jurassic Park, but they do. But for this, Sigourney has a better reason. She's confronting her fears as far as, all right, I can't really move on with my life until I get past this. I'm going to try to help some people out and go forward. Now, things go awry, which makes the film interesting as far as they get stranded there. But boring, you get a glimpse into Earth life in, you know, the near future. You get boxes, weird computer screens, coffee that's made instantly, which is unheard of, but of course it is. But it is really good. The strengths are there. It's so subtle. When you see it on the screen, you're like, that's pretty cool. You take it for granted. With Terminator 2, you're going back in time, you're going forward in time. You know, it's original, but it's not on screen. You get originality where everything on Aliens was made, it was calculated, it was thought of, and it was filmed. And it was really there, and it was really awesome when you see it.
All right, that is the end of this battle. Trace Patchen, what do you got for me?
All right, well, it's a lot of reiterating, but actually, Terminator 2, maybe since the last time you looked, it got bumped up to 41 on IMDb's Top 250. So, like you said, Alien is 64. IMDb's rating, overall score rating, 8.5 for Terminator 2, 8.4 for Aliens, real close.
Super close.
Rotten Tomato is 93 for Terminator 2, and 98
Don't
for
do
Aliens. Like you guys said, Terminator 2 won 4 Oscars, nominated for 6 overall. Aliens was nominated for 7, but only won the 2 sound, both visual and sound effects. And I totally did not know Little Chute was mentioned in that movie.
It's in the extended cut.
Yeah.
They-
JC,
Cameron, come hang with us.
Just digging Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Come on,
Anytime,
James.
buddy.
Come
That's
on,
all I got for you,
James.
Damon.
All right. So this is very close. There's great arguments from both of you. I didn't think it was going to be this close, honestly. And
Very
I
solid.
have... What?
I just wanted to add that it was very solid.
Thanks.
Shishi.
So I'll just get down to it. I have, in a very, very, very close, being 1 point, Scott over Franco on that one. All right, so we'll move on to the second topic, which is John Wayne Westerns. And this time Franco gets to go first. So tell us your movie and start.
My film is The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. Now, I have to be really honest and forthcoming. This could lose me the match. I know little to nothing about John Wayne, so I did some research. I looked him up. I'm like, he's, I think, over 173 credits on IMDb. That might be wrong, but a lot of westerns. And I said, where do I start? I looked him up. I said, John Wayne in Netflix. One western came up, The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. I said, I'm giving this a shot. I watched it. It was amazing. I go to look up further. It's well reviewed on Rotten Tomatoes. High score on IMDb. This film is a triumph. Now, it's shot in black and white, even though at the time it could have been in color. A few debatable things on whether they wanted to keep it dramatic or they just wanted to save money. But this film has John Wayne, James Stewart, and a bunch of other supporting actors. The story is, to give you a quick oversight, a lawyer comes to Western Front to start his law practice, gets ambushed by an outlaw, and he's confronted with the ideas of the frontier where do you take justice into your own hands by taking guns and starting violence, and he believes that the law will prevail, and everyone kind of laughs in his face about this. The law man, lawyer, you're a sissy, you gotta have a gun or you're not gonna get anywhere. And the whole time I was watching this, I was just dumbfounded that they're talking about guns, they're talking about statehood and delegates and recognizing the state. And this movie's made in 1962. It's a Western film, and here it's emulating and talking about things going on in our modern time. Not to get super political, but there's a conversation about guns and recognizing state. And there's even conversations in the film about the people in Washington work for you, and if you don't like what they're doing, don't vote for them, and you have a voice. And to hear those things mentioned in a 60s film, which is supposed to be set during a Western film, was just incredible. The acting's good. I mean, these are what's arguably great about the black and white film, even though it didn't have to be shot in black and white, is that it's all them. There's no colors, there's no fancy stuff going on. It's a set, controlled environment. The actors are being actors. The men are just being men. Super manly. John Wayne is just incredible. Now, he might not have incredible range, but he has stage presence, which was really just captivating. And James Stewart owned it. Now, some could say he was overacting, but he really he got into the role. Now, this film, has Oscar winners. The Oscar winner director, James Ford. He's won 4 Oscars before this film. James Stewart had won 1 prior to it. And some looked at this saying, all right, this is, a guy making a film and, losing his flair. It wasn't super well received at the time, but it's a film that has since then earned a following as far as, damn, this is good. So I was really surprised when I saw it it actually was good. And it was just great. Now, what can I say against the other film? Not much, except that the other film might be a great spectacle, but this is a great story about human characters. And a cowboy western about human characters, in the grand scope of things, is what we really want. A good story.
I'm ready now.
He's ready. And go.
Good. This is The Cowboys from 1972. The reason why I chose this film over numerous critically acclaimed films is because this is the first ever John Wayne Western I've ever seen. I idolize the man. I think, like Franco said, he puts it very well. He doesn't have much range. However, he embodies the American spirit and manliness so well that it's hard not to go back to his films. I was about 11 when I saw this film, but when I watched it, you have an overture, you have an intermission, and you have an end song sequence. If you think back not too long ago, let's say December, there is a prominent director in Hollywood right now that tried to sort of recapture that feeling in a Western film. I think we all know his name is Quentin Tarantino. He tried to embody the 70s Western with shooting it in Panavision, ultra-wide scope and everything like that. But you don't have to go to The Hateful Eight to see that this film embodies that all at once. You have a beautiful score by John Williams in this film, probably a young John Williams by our standards, who creates such emotion with the way he scores it. The Cowboys is a film about an aging John Wayne, both in real life and in the film, that has to take on young boys as his cowhands because all of his workers lit out for gold on the rivers. look, this is the openness and vastness, the expansive world of an actual Western because of the landscapes. You have the landscapes, you have the horse riding, you have all of the animal stuff done so well. There's great attention to detail. Cut hand, subtle dolly moving in with John Wayne and the bartender. You have young actors in this film that actually become famous. To highlight, Robert Carradine, who you probably know him as the dad from Lizzie McGuire, and A. Martinez, who is an Indian actor that has been most recently, I think, maybe all of us have seen him in The Curse of Chucky. He is the priest. But also Bruce Dern, who still has notoriety for killing John Wayne in this film. There are only 7 films that you see his death, John Wayne's death, on screen. This is one of them. The editing does a great job with the humor. You have the introduction to Will Anderson's regrets. He regrets the fact that he never got to get close to his kids, and now he has a second chance. The foreshadow between old and young Bull lesson. They kill a kid in the actual drive. You have young men growing up. Bruce Dern, perfectly cast as a killer. One of 7. I already said that. The overall arc between Will Anderson and his beautiful speech at the end about every parent wants a kid to be better than they are, and he says they have. They've grown up. They're men in the eyes of John Wayne. Roscoe Lee Brown puts in a great performance as an African American at a time post-Civil War who's still dealing with racism. It's a phenomenal film.
2 minutes for Franco, starting now.
All good points, sincerely. But I think my argument that I'll make with you is scope versus depth. You have a good story, you have a good film, it's a John Williams score, hard to beat that. But what The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance has is incredible depth. It's shot almost on a lower key. There's not epic battles, there's a lot of story going on. I mean, our main character is a man who believes in the law, and he believes that due process will conquer all. But what they're facing in the story is they're in a territory. They're not even in a state. The marshal's not doing his job, going after this known outlaw that the community just kind of puts up with. So he also, at the same time as has this on his mind, the outlaw situation, he is bettering the town that he's in. He's teaching people how to read and write. He's to talk about politics a little bit more, in the context of the story, the outlaw was against settlers and statehood for the whole territory. He was talking to the whole community about the benefits of becoming a state, and they're talking about elections and delegates and all these things. And what's really striking is the man who shot Liberty Valance isn't our hero in this story. It is John Wayne. John Wayne plays the cool man in the town who everyone likes and who's just the ultra badass. But that's really all he is in this film, is the badass. But he kind of, muscle conquers, words in this case, because the main hero goes to the depths of, okay, I'm going to have to fight this bad guy. I'm going to have to shoot. We're going to have a shoot-off. And he's not ready for it. He almost has a little mini training session, but he's not ready for it. And the man who shot Liberty Valance is John Wayne. And at the end of the film, he's renowned as his hero because he gets the credit for shooting Liberty Valance. And here he becomes this great senator. He makes this territory a state, and his bane of his existence is he didn't actually get rid of this bad guy.
All right, Scott, ready?
Yes.
Go.
Jimmy Stewart actually caves on his own morals. He's the one who's not going to pick up the gun. He's not going to shoot. He has that big scene about him getting tripped, dropping the steak all over the floor, stopping the gun battle between John Wayne and Liberty Valance because he doesn't want to see anybody die. But yet he still thought in the beginning, when he shoots him, he thought he shot him and killed him. I think that shows that he caved on his own morals. And he only taught one person to read and write. That's all. He taught one girl. It was a love interest to read and write. They don't use guns until the final act in The Cowboys, which is insane. There is no killing from the main characters in that movie until the end sequence, which it's true Western status where you're not a man until you've had a drink of whiskey, you've rode a horse, and you've been on a cattle drive, and you've killed someone. It could be a Western song or a country Western song. Look, you said that your film has its deep human characters. Well, this film is all human characters, motherfucker. That's a Jerry Maguire quote, kind of. But we have not seen a role with John Wayne in before. He's playing his own age, which he was reluctant to do. He finally came to senses and said, "You know what? I am gonna play this," and he did it so well. I think, honestly, we're talking John Wayne Western. John Wayne was second billed in this film. This is Jimmy Stewart's picture. Other John Ford films had color and vast, expansive landscapes. The Searchers was before this film, and it was in color, shot more beautifully than this one. It's a political thriller, and the ending really loses me because it turns into Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, basically. Yeah, that's all I gotta say.
Ooh, that was strong.
I didn't mean you, motherfucker. I just... You ever see Jerry Maguire? I'm all hot, motherfucker.
Trace Couch Badgen, what
All
you
right,
got for
here
me?
we go. The man that shot Liberty Valance. You were correct. 178 acting credits for John Wayne. I think that's what you said.
Yeah,
if not,
you
you are correct.
not,
8
you are correct.
8.1 on IMDb. Only one Oscar nom for this movie for costume design. 93 Rotten Tomato. And this is the first occasion John Wayne started calling people pilgrim in a film. Also,
annoying.
also, John Ford's last film in black and white. For the Cowboys, 7.4 on IMDb, 73% on Rotten Tomato. And shortly after this, no Oscar noms, by the way. Shortly after the film's release, Bruce Dern received death threats for his character killing John Wayne by shooting him in the back. So, it was serious business.
Yeah, I guess. Who did you think won that round?
That was another tight one. This has
been a really tight.
This whole episode has been pretty solid. I've seen neither film, so I guess I
Yeah.
can't go from personal experience, but from what I'm hearing, it's a toss-up. Like literally, I can't even
Yeah.
pick.
If it wasn't
Good
for a really strong rebuttal from Scott, I probably would have been really, we would have gone to the trivia cards, but I do have Scott winning by 2 points on that one.
I will say that he teaches a whole room of people to read, not just his love interest.
So now we're moving to my topic.
Yeah.
The less manly of all the topics, which I had to, bring down the man.
The
level
most
is-
manly of all the
Okay,
topics.
that's my bad. Most manly of all the topics is best musical. All right. So on this one, Scott gets to go first, correct?
I'm ready.
All right, go.
Listen, timeless is defined as eternal or everlasting. The Wizard of Oz is timeless. It creates an everlasting image of the color of Oz with enduring characters and eternal fantasy. This film was doing so much ahead of its time. During this filming, the Technicolor camera that was being used weighed several hundred pounds. If you think about it, how many times do they move that camera, either dollying back or forward, throughout Oz? It's incredible. It's an incredible feat. Victor Fleming's direction is superb, especially when he thought of the idea to cross over two Dorothys, one opening the door, going out of frame, and then one entering the land of Oz, because you have the black and white switching to the color. I thought that was very creative. The Wizard of Oz created a tornado that films like Twister ripped off. This film was shot in 1930s. Okay, when the hell did Twister air?
1990s, I think.
Yeah. So I mean, this is what we're up against here. This is insane. This film is among one of the most anticipated films to air on network television, and although it didn't do great at the box office, it's because of the emergence of World War II. The songs are ageless, and the characters are some of the most beloved of all time in the history of film, both foreign and domestic. It's a film that everyone can quote, both young and old. And in the end, The Wizard of Oz tells us not to sell ourselves short, because the thing you think you're without may have been there from the beginning. This picture was dedicated to the young at heart, and to the young at heart, this film remains timeless. The songs in this film are timeless. You have each individual character singing their own song. Dorothy, the lion, the scarecrow. You have them singing in Oz. You have them singing throughout the entire film, but it doesn't feel detached from the whole narrative. It plays in so well. In order for them to get closer to Oz, they have to sing the new song, and you're excited for it. You're excited for them. Even the heavenly voice of, you're out of the woods, you're out of the dark, you're out of the night, step into the sun, step into the light. You're going towards Oz, you see it in the background, you're just uplifted emotionally. And this film does so well as a musical because you travel to a different place. And it truly is a spectacular place, so much that we had to try to go back numerous times. We failed, but we tried. We tried. I can't say enough about the actors and actresses in this film. It does mix great emotion with good comedy. But again, at the heart of it all is the actual songs. The songs that make a musical a musical. And this film is definitely one that started many great musicals down the line. Not the Newsies.
Franco, whenever you're ready.
Well, I do love The Wizard of Oz, but I think we confuse certain things with, okay, it was made a long time ago, it was a massive achievement for when it was made, I believe it was 1934, but it's, the songs are fantastic. I really can't rip on it a whole lot, except that it's old and we've heard it before. We've heard it 1,000 times, we've seen it a lot, we get it, it's a great musical. And my film, The Newsies, which was made in 1992, starring a young Christian Bale, a Disney film, so it is a little cheesy, but it plays off your heart. You just kind of watch it and you end up loving it. Now, this was a commercial failure. It didn't make a lot of money, not a lot of people saw it, but it has earned a love through home video and a cult following just through musicals in general. It's been turned into a Broadway musical, winning several Tonys, and it's known on Broadway for its epic dance numbers. Now, in the actual film, it's about, again, I'm going to go back to human characters. Now, almost all these actors and characters in the Newsies are kids, because it's about newspaper carriers in I want to say the 1890 or something. That's not right. But it's about a young early American newspaper kids, and they go on strike, and they're trying to get wages, but the strength of the film is Christian Bale, who's super young at this point, dancing, singing, having a full American accent. And he just carries this. You want to root for him. You go through the motions of, wow, is he going to make it? Where's the story going to go from here? With The Wizard of Oz and Dorothy and everything included, it is great. But this is something new. I mean, not many people saw Newsies when it came out. And unless you're a hardcore musical person, you probably didn't go out of your way to watch it. But the debate is not what is the most seen musical. The debate is what is the best musical. And I think Newsies really just has some great numbers in it, with just Christian Bale, who just wears his heart on his sleeve for this film. And he has publicly said, look back, and is he's not proud of it because people didn't like it when it came out, and now since they have liked it, and now it's very popular on Broadway, and they like it, and he's good for them, glad they liked it. He's I'm never going back to that area of I poured my heart into this and people didn't like it. But in fact, it was good, and he did a great job with it. But you have other kid actors, some other great. I think Robert Duvall is in it as the mean old rich guy, and you have I forget his name, but he was the president in Independence Day. And he's a reporter, I think, talking about
Bill
the
Pullman.
issues. Thank you.
Yeah.
And it's just great. Wizard of Oz is fantastic, but The Newsies is a film that wasn't seen by most, but it's a great film for the few who have seen it.
All right, stopping a little early. I like it. Rebuttal time, Scott. Whenever you're ready.
Good.
Okay.
We're talking about the best musical, and The Newsies doesn't even have notable awards for its music. Not just the film overall, the actual music. The Wizard of Oz snagged 2 Oscars for Over the Rainbow and original score. That's not just the songs that are in it. It's one of the songs that are in it, but also the underlying score that's underneath the entire film. It makes it memorable. The Newsies is directed by a half-assed director. Sorry, I love Hocus Pocus, but Kenny, stick with your dance numbers, dude. The Wizard of Oz was led by the man that directed Gone with the Wind. Besides a small following, the Newsies is forgotten. There's no excitement when you hear the name. You hear the name Wizard of Oz, and young kids and old kids and middle kids, they all get together and sit down and watch this in awe. The musical is arguably one of the hardest films or genres to put out there now. How often do you see a musical come up? But there is one musical that everybody can agree on, and that's The Wizard of Oz. 6.9 out of 10 on IMDb, 39% on Rotten Tomatoes, 46% on Metacritic. That's The Newsies. 8.1 out of 10. Inside the top 250 on IMDb. And a 99% on Rotten Tomatoes. Look, I can't name one actor other than Bale, and I can't name a song other than Seize the Day in the Newsies. It does well on Broadway because they used it correctly. That was supposed to be a Broadway musical. Disney got a little too gung-ho, thought, hey, we can turn this, make a profit. I don't even know if they made a profit. That's for the fact checker, but it was garbage. History tells us the story of us. The Wizard of Oz survives through history because of us. Billions of people can't be wrong.
Franco?
Well, you put some good points there, but I'm just gonna kind of hit you back a little bit. As everyone's seen Dorothy and the Scarecrow and Tin Man, it's quotable, it's great, but I don't know anyone who sits down and watches this movie. Everyone just remembers it. Everyone watches clips on YouTube, and any, production that's put on in your local home theater is an abridged edition because the movie's so long. It's long, it's a hassle to watch. It's great the first couple times, but people don't rewatch The Wizard of Oz. And why it won all those awards? What was it up against? I mean, it's you got a big, awesome movie that was great for its time, but you're probably talking the Avatar effect in 1934. I mean, Avatar was nominated for dozens of awards, won little, but everyone's like, oh my god, it was amazing. And The Wizard of Oz is looked back on like, oh my god, it's amazing, look how shiny it is, this first color film. But what was it really up against? I mean, it stands the history of time because it was great then, it still is good. Newsies is a cult. You're right. Not a lot of people watched it. Its songs might not be memorable to you, but the people who love that movie love that movie. I mean, it's great when you watch it. You can nitpick it to death, but then you can nitpick any musical to death. I mean, if a character is great, if it's annoying. This is, Bale's a star in our time now. This was a young Bale film that he did. He owned it. It was great. Yeah, I'm sticking with that. Newsies is really great, so...
Okay.
It was in 1939, right? Wizard of Oz.
34.
The 39 was the film release date.
Yeah.
All right.
Fact checker?
I got a mouthful here. All right. Wizard of Oz. 99% of Rotten Tomato, 8.1 IMDb. Was released in 1939. 2 Oscar noms, like Scott said, took more than 2 Oscar noms, but 2 Oscar wins. And going back to the Twister thing, Twister was released on May 10th, 1996. Just to let you know.
Yes.
No one asked him, okay.
Well,
Yeah,
they did name the machine Dorothy.
It is relevant.
Many of the Wicked Witch of the West scenes were either trimmed, deleted entirely because the performance given by Margaret Hamilton was deemed too frightening for audiences.
Superb, man. She is superb.
For Newsies, 6.9 IMDb, came out. The film was set in 1899, so you were close. It was so it was set then. So budget, it was made for $15 million, and it came in with about close to $3 million, a little under. So it underperformed for sure.
That's worse than Hocus Pocus.
And the last question raised was what was it up against for in 1940s Academy Awards, the 12th Academy Awards, It was Wizard of Oz was going up against movies like Gone with the Wind, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. Up my some big names.
But
there.
are they musicals?
Yeah, no,
I'm out of the
We can
woods,
really
I'm out of the dark.
Nominate
I'm out of the
Mr. Smith for Washington for score.
no,
I
those,
got a digibook
those are
right
just
there.
best pictures. I didn't get to the scores in time, but that's at least some to paint some
That's
picture of
Some
what they're
good
going
points,
against.
That's some
definitely.
pretty crazy.
There you go.
This is best musical, so I was looking for a lot of music related arguments, and there were some in there, but not as much as I was hoping. So I actually have this as a tie.
What? Look at Scott's face.
Give me a fucking break. He wants.
Am I grabbing this?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a bunch of movie quotes.
Do you want to read or should I read? I'm gonna pick one, and then Trace is gonna read it.
Oh.
Do we have to slap our hand or just
Yeah.
snap our
We're
fingers?
gonna slap something. We're gonna slap this.
We're gonna slap some. We're gonna throw tables. All right.
Slap Damon.
Yeah,
Making
that's
this
it.
shit a tie.
All right.
Here's the quote. I like them French fried potatoes. Go.
Cars.
Incorrect.
Not gonna guess the film.
You're not
I don't
gonna
know.
guess?
I don't know that film.
Oh man, I would have got this right away. Sling Blade.
Oh, dude!
Come
If you
on.
said tater tots, I would have freaking
It
known.
says French fried potatoes. I'll try it. Here we
Okay.
go. Next one up. Here's the quote. It's a quick one.
Battle.
I want the fairy tale. Scott.
Go.
Princess Bride.
Incorrect.
I don't. What are these movies? Like no.
Well, this one is actually a
This
like,
one is
really
from
well-known movie.
Pretty Woman.
Okay.
Oh my
I'm
god.
gonna start
He
giving
wants
you
the fairy
guys.
tale.
I'm gonna start giving you guys film years to kind of give you some hints here.
There you go. I'm lying.
I'm doing
no.
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 All right. Well,
Damon, what was it, dude?
it was a Bruce Almighty quote.
I wouldn't have got it.
What was it?
Smite me.
I would have known it, dude. I would have fucking known it.
Damon fucked you up, dude.
He was yelling at me.
I didn't do nothing.
This is
All
really
right.
easy. You got
Quote is.
Don't forget it.
Here we go, guys. You
Hardcore.
ready?
This is exciting. I'm excited.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
Scott got it.
Oh!
Oh my god.
Go!
Just give it to me. Give it to
Franco.
me.
Are you
sure?
I swear to God.
Go Apocalypse Now.
I got it.
Oh my god.
Dude, all I was thinking was
man.
Redux, dude. All I was thinking was Redux. I was like, what the fuck?
so funny.
The moment that just happened to you is pretty much what sums up my life, so don't feel bad about it.
It's, yeah, pretty accurate.
Well,
All right.
you know, I'm blaming fucking. Where the fuck is it?
Apocalypse Now Redux.
Yeah, here it is, this son of a bitch.
Yeah. Fucking
Congratulations
looking you
on
in the
blocking
face.
the 3 win.
He did. He,
Yeah, dude.
It hasn't happened yet.
It's
so.
never happened yet in 5 episodes. The 3-0 is a big feat.
Yeah.
Oh well, that was my weakest argument. Was the musical? Like I knew, like I seriously was. I should've
That's why I was so shocked it was a tie,
Oh,
asshole.
he doesn't have any
Well, if you had
categories, he's
talked
just
about the damn
winging
music
this.
more.
Yeah, I didn't know like the songs off the top of my head. I was like, I should have picked music.
I gave you songs.
And Scott,
You
you
did.
You said the songs were good.
After the fact checker.
You spent like the first 2 minutes of your argument talking about the directing, so I kind of had.
No way. You can go back.
As a fact
No,
checker.
I agree.
And-
will.
I agree. He
Can I finish?
No.
yes,
All right,
please.
finish.
Yeah.
No, as the fact checker, and in Scott's defense, he did go on a lengthy argument about winning the Oscars.
He
for
did, and
song
I gave him-
and
I
score.
gave him points
Just
for
saying,
that.
but just saying.
He didn't.
That wasn't
How
until
many
the
Friends,
rebuttal.
Franco,
Dude, how
no
many
offense to you.
how
That
many
wasn't
mentions?
just-
No, I'm
just
not
say-
shitting on you,
just say-
Franco.
that's okay.
I'm putting him in question.
okay.
That's
How
fine.
many times did he mention a song in that? I had to mention it for him.
You did.
And you talked about musical, and
You only talked about 2 of your songs too.
no, I said I sang a fucking song in there,
Yeah.
and I
You
said,
didn't really sing it, but okay.
yeah, I said, you're out of the woods, you're out of the dark, you're out of the night.
quoted the lyrics
And
to
then
a
I
song.
sang it at the end, dick. And on top of that, dude, I said, the Scarecrow sings a song, the Lion, the
Yeah,
Tin
I
Man,
gave you
Dorothy
points.
has her own song.
I literally gave you points for all of this. It was just you talked about the freaking camera and the directing for the first 2 minutes of your argument.
And what did he say about the musical?
I presented it well. That's what
He
I did.
did. He actually talked about it being a musical, where you talked about it being
Oh
a
my
film.
god.
I
I'm
said
talking
it's a
about best
musical that
musical.
young and old and everybody can get together.
Despite-
This is horrible.
Despite it, Scott, you still won.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
yeah.
2-1.
Thank you,
2-1.
thank you for
So,
doing this.
Good,
Franco.
yeah,
it was a lot of fun.
absolutely. This was fun.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
We're out of control.
Freaking believable.
And then on top of
You're
that,
over the line,
fucking
Donnie.
choking on Apocalypse Now, dude.
That was bad.
That was the best moment of my
I
life.
thought you would get that immediately.
Unbelievable.
All right.
dude.
out
So
of
that
your
wraps up Film Eat Film. We have our winners, which is Scott Icebox Nemi,
Disappointed.
stepping up from fact checker
Disappointed with
and
your
host to
Dude,
winners
comment.
battle.
Did Damon get this wrong? I think he did.
I don't think I did.
I think he did.
Do you have anything to plug? Do you still do
do
that
you
website?
You can follow me at Francesco FRANCESCO _Adam. I review films on Instagram and I post them also on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter that way also. I also review films on Letterboxd. But all the reviews are the same on Instagram too. So that's FRANCESCO _Adam, Francesco Adam, and I review most new films that come out, occasionally some older films too. So
Sweet.
Alright. And
Very
then
cool.
obviously like, subscribe.
Subscribe.
That's a big thing apparently. And Twitter, I do some stuff on there still. So
It'd be cool. Also, if we can get some suggestions, possibly for
Future-
any judges who come in that need a topic to be thrown into
True.
for
Yeah,
the film.
that's true.
That'd be pretty cool to get you guys into it. So
obviously you can throw in top 10 topics as well if you want.
absolutely, hopefully we
Just,
can maybe
just
get
comment whatever you
Franco
want. Even
back
if
for
it's
a
just like a
top 10
dick
too.
comment, dude, comment.
Definitely.
All right,
All right.
signing off. I want to do it. I want to do it.
Do it.
Let me get ready to like.
You ready?
I can edit it
You
anyway.
ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Game on, man.